Perfect. good dad joke just in time for Father's Day.
Yeah. Okay, looks like we have a few people in Payson. Okay, I think we're ready to go now. All right, so good morning, everyone. It's 10:01, June 16th. I'll call this meeting to order. And I have asked Cole Labonte to lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us this morning. And so we'll stand for that, remove our hats, and then right after that, Chaplain Rich Ritchie will lead us in an invocation. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, we humbly bow before you today on this glorious day today. We thank you for all the many blessings, all the ways you watch over us and take care of us. And now, Father, we pray for your blessing on this meeting today, on all of the business that is discussed, on all of the good things that is happening here in Gila County. I pray for your blessings on our county supervisors and their families, that you watch over them, protect them, provide for them, give them wisdom and grace. We thank you for all of the employees of Gila County. Ask that you would watch over them and bless them as well. We thank you for all of our sheriff's deputies and those who work in the jails and all of the employees countywide that work so hard. We just pray for your protection and blessing on them and all of their families. And now, Lord, we ask your wisdom in the business that is being discussed today. May your wonderful will be done, and may we bring glory and honor to your name. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain Ritchie, for coming to Globe today. You're in Payson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. All right. This morning we have a pretty full schedule, so let's get started with our presentation, item 2A. This is a presentation of the University of Arizona's Gila County Cooperative Extension. And at the office, the annual report and the fiscal year 26-27 budget request to be considered for approval during Gila County's regular budget process. So, good morning. It's Ashley, correct?
Yes.
Yes, good morning. Are you all set to go?
I think so. I'll hand these out while she's...
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. So we are just presenting on our 2025 annual report, and then also overviewing some of the things that we've done over the last year or so, and some things to come. So let me try and see if this works. Okay. We've been very busy, as usual. We've also, in the last 6 months, hired a new 4-H agent, and we have some new 4-H staff, and so on and so forth. So this is reflecting our 2025 impact, but even since then, we've had a lot going on too. So in 2025, for Family Consumer Health Science, that's what the domain that I fall under, we offered 186 early literacy classes in San Carlos, and so that program is kind of a fusion, financial literacy, but also cultural relevance, and we use Apache language incorporated throughout the program. And those sessions reach 377 families and adults. So that's a pretty big impact, and those adults and caregivers are raising kids 0 to 5. Additionally, we provided over 300 hearing and vision screenings free of charge for 0 to 5-year-olds. And that led to 76 referrals. So those are kiddos that we're trying to get ready for school, and if we get early intervention, then they're set for school better. So we're doing those screenings on 0 to 5-year-olds and make referrals as needed. We also offered financial literacy and parenting classes throughout the county. And we had 116 folks participate in financial literacy, as well as 21 parents participating in parenting. We did a fusion program for financial literacy, and parents and teens attend together, which is kind of a cool concept. We supported 8 childcare sites here, and as you all probably know, we're in a childcare desert of sorts. We don't have a lot of childcare providers, so the ones we have, we want to support even more so. And then finally, in San Carlos, we reached 56 adults, teaching them culturally relevant nutrition programs and physical activity and all those kinds of things. So busy. Then for our FERTEP program, which is Juan Arias, he and his team reached quite a few producers. They offered beef quality assurance programs, equine health, sheep basic care, biosecurity. He's doing a lot on drones and utilizing drones to help producers understanding grazing patterns and all of that as well. So they reached quite a few, 164 producers, which is a pretty big impact. They had a huge impact on youth in San Carlos, and he only does programming in San Carlos, so all the numbers that are in the book are only reflective of folks that he's reached in San Carlos. They were doing a lot on the food system in San Carlos, as well as Master Gardener and 4-H program is growing quite a bit too. So in that vein, I want to introduce Tony Deanda, who is our new 4-H agent, and she's was hired in March, I think, began in March, and she's already helping to expand a lot of our 4-H programming in San Carlos and elsewhere. So
Great.
maybe at the end, if you have questions or anything, or do you want to ask them now of her?
Well, if the gentlemen have any questions, just
Yeah.
speak up.
Okay, great,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. I'll do the overview and then we can always further dive into anything that you want to chat about. But so for 4-H, in 2025, and if you remember, Renee left in like July, August. So right in time for fair, but it was a huge success. And we had a lot of participation and it went off really well last year. But in addition to that, we had over 250 youth members, and now we have over 300 members. So in the year already, we have over 300. And last year, we had 52 volunteers, and I think we're over 60 now for 2026. So all of the volunteers, obviously the time and energy that they put in the program pays dividends. And so when we estimate the cost per hour that the time that they're giving 4-H, it amounts to almost $200,000. So that's a huge return on investment for volunteer time and giving energy and time and expertise back to our communities. Then we also had 177 exhibitors at the fair, 606 entries, and livestock sales over $500,000. So that's $500,000 going back to our youth and being put back into the communities. So, and a lot of kids use that for things like, going to college or going to trade school or whatever they kind of feel is important for their growth. We had a lot of participation in the beef cook-off. 128 youth participated in that, which is a lot. And I think that's gonna be held.
We just held it
in
April.
Okay, so it's every April generally. And we had a huge turnout this year too. So, and then beyond that, we obviously participated in Ag Days. That was a huge success in 2025 as well as 2026. In 2025, we had over 250 youth that attended that at Brownville H4 Farm or Ranch. And we also have expanded dramatically our shooting sports in Northern and Young. Now we have shooting sports and archery, We're doing Next Steps for Leadership, which is in the classroom event or series to get kids kind of into leadership roles and direction. And then, as I said before, the Ag Days. Finally, moving on to Ag and Natural Resources for Master Gardeners and Forest Health. There were about 25 participants from Gila County with the Master Gardener presentations, and that was on pruning, irrigation, plant selection, all that kind of stuff. We have 11 ongoing volunteers for Master Gardeners that have in 25 gave over 636 hours of volunteer time, which is quite a bit. And then we reached 320 adults and 245 youth with forest health information and just kind of horticulture information, probably presentations, that kind of thing. And then 200 individuals attended or participated in our FireWise programming. Okay. Then for A&R range monitoring, there were 96 sites in Gila County that were monitored through with Ashley Hall. And in addition to that, we had 15 Forest Service allotments that were also monitored. So that's a lot of Gila County being kind of impacted by our our range monitoring and management agent. In addition to that, we did 2 artificial insemination workshops and seminars, which had waiting lists. So that's obviously a huge need and want. And we had 9 additional workshops and seminars for just basic range monitoring, forage, nutrition, just information like that. And recently, Ashley has been piloting a targeted graze research project, which has really done well, and it's probably going to be expanding. And I think they've gone for some additional funding to expand that, which would have great implications because they utilize virtual collar fence or fence collars, and so you can really target where I think they were doing goats, but where the cattle or goats are I guess grazing would be the best. Okay. So that brings us to our annual financials. We have had, as you all know, and we shared with you last year, there was a huge reduction in the amount of money that we receive from the state and otherwise. And so last year, for fiscal year 25, we had a $340,000 reduction in the amount of money that our office receives. And so that impacted obviously how our operations, our ease of operations and salaries and all of that. For this year, for 2025, 2026, fiscal year 26, we had another reduction of 44,000, so almost 45,000. So we are anticipating another reduction as well and heading into fiscal year 27. We don't know quite yet how much that's going to be, but we are very grateful for the continued support from the county, especially helping us to endure those cuts from the state and otherwise in the university. So we are still continuing to get grant funds, and quite a bit of grant funds. I would say about half of our, more than half probably of our staff are paid off of grant funds, and they've been continued to pay off of grant funds. So it's not just, 1 year type of thing. I know for all of us, it's important if we hire someone to try to keep them as long as possible. So, but the bulk of our expenditures is always salary and benefits and kind of the necessities. And then beyond that, our operations usually fall right around 10%, and travel is 3 to 4%. Any questions about that? so much good news about financials always, right?
So-
Anyway, so our ask is your continued support, obviously. And last year, and you've been very, very generous in giving us 70,000. We ask at least that continued support as it's possible from you all. So, thank you
Mr.
so
Chair,
much.
if I might.
Yeah.
Ashley, thank you.
Yeah.
And you guys have done an awesome job.
Thank you.
And quite honestly, there's some things, well, every aspect of the extension office is a huge benefit for the county,
Thank
all,
you.
all the way across. All the way from your range programs, your 4-H programs, you're working with San Carlos and the families out there.
Yep.
The whole gamut is a huge plus for Gila County.
Thank you.
And so if there's one thing, it's not a question, because I know you guys are doing really good work and you're moving forward on a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but more so from the county. You know, we've given you guys that $70,000 now for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And if it can come up in a format that we can really discuss it and vote on it, I would like to see us throw in and get you up to about $100,000 from the county.
That would be really
And so
helpful.
I made my finance lady look up really quick, but it's all right. But so without, and by saying that, what I'm saying is that you guys are doing so much more that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not out there and with those kiddos on the 4-H deals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what the benefit to that is just hugely improving Gila County when that goes on. So
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, is there a reason for the fluctuation in the federal and state? I mean, is that over the years, has that been fluctuating quite a bit, up, down, mostly down, or?
So for the state, I don't know all of the I guess all of the inner workings, but I do know, I believe that we haven't had an increase from the state line item for I think since 2015 or so. And so that's, you know, the cost of things has significantly increased. Part of it is that I'm guessing there's some inner workings in the background with the university, but I think that also they are wanting us to rely on, you know, grant funding and county funding and other areas trying to. But our number one priority continues to be getting and keeping good people, because that's the heart of everything that we do. I will also say that there's just been, in general, I think everybody has kind of felt to a certain degree, kind of fluctuation on funding and what the anticipation of what you're getting and what you get. And so some of that uncertainty sometimes may be leading to that as well. I know it's not only extension though that has received cuts from the university. I think it's kind of our spending authority has decreased a bit across the board. So we're trying to just ride with it, hoping that things improve. But
Okay, yeah, because maybe we can also reach out to our state and federal leaders
right,
and let them know what a great job you do with our youth.
yeah,
And that, you know, if the funding keeps getting cut and they don't reach out to this, then they're going to have more issues with young people as they grow into adults. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I just was asking that because it seems like most of that is state and federal. So
yeah.
reach out to state and federal leaders and
That's
and
actually
let them know.
That's actually a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Senator Dunn has brought a bill for the legislature and it at least got through a few committees. I think that the state maybe this year doesn't have the ability to possibly fund it. I don't know the end result of that, but he definitely brought a bill for some one-time infusion money for extension and extension experiment stations as well as ongoing increases, which would help us significantly. So if you would be willing to go to bat for us, that would be very much appreciated.
Sure, CSA and some of the things, maybe we can help push
Absolutely.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much for taking on that position and working hard at it. We really appreciate it very
We
much.
have a few of our other team too, Anissa and Pam Trola,
Oh, okay.
and then our
And-
Sammy from our
And
board too.
Sam, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for all you do. And I've been to the Brownsville thing, and it's amazing the volunteer and the excitement of the youth as they see things that they
Yeah.
didn't know before.
Right.
So
Right.
thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Great presentation. I think that what you do is a great benefit to the Gila County, most certainly. And I am in total agreement to continue funding the extension. A little more money would be great. We are facing a lot of challenges ourselves, so we have to be cautious about that. But
Sure.
I would like to see an increase as well, and it may not be this year. I would say though, Michael, that Todd and Andy should be working on something for the benefit of Gila County through the extension, that at least the state funding would continue at a rate rather than be decreased and possibly increased. It's very beneficial to the rural counties and us especially. So, yeah, thank you very much. So I also want to thank everyone that's here on behalf of the extension and university and all of you back there. I know you work very hard. And so we are living in sort of some financial troubled times right now, but we're all going to make it through. We're
Yep.
all going to get there. And so I think that the county certainly can continue to help.
Okay. Great.
So, and we'll look for ways to hopefully make that even more.
Excellent. Thank
Okay.
you so much for your
All
support.
right,
and,
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else on this item, Michael?
No, sir. I certainly will get with Andy and Todd and talk about supporting the U of A, and I'll get with Ashley and make sure that we're on the same page as far as the legislation that she mentioned here during this presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you all
Have
so
a good
much.
day.
You too.
Next is a public hearing. It's item 3A, information discussion action to consider a liquor license application. It's number LL-26-02 submitted by Sumita Gajera for an owner transfer of a Series 6 bar license with an interim permit to operate the license at Sportsman's Chalet, which is located at 5087 West Highway 87 in Strawberry, 85544. Oh, God. 85544, get my mouth working right, and issue a recommendation to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control on whether the license should be granted. Charlotte, you have this.
Yes, good morning, Chairman and board members. As stated, this is a new liquor license application for a Series 6 bar license and owner transfer with an interim permit. The notice was posted on the establishment for the 20-day statutory requirement, and per the board's liquor license process, an internal review was conducted by Planning and Zoning and the Health Department, and the treasurer also reviewed the application. I did not receive any written objection from anyone within the 1 mile radius of the property that lease, own, or rent property, lease, own, or reside. And I recommend proceeding with the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good.
All right, I'll close our discussion and open up to the public. Anyone here in Globe wish to speak to this? No? Cassandra? No? And anyone in Payson?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control approve a liquor license application submitted to Sumita Gajara for the Sportsman Chalet as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, let's move on to our regular agenda items. 4A, information, discussion, action to receive an update on the activities of the Pinal Gila Council for Senior Citizens doing business as the Central Arizona Aging and approve agreement number 05072026 with the CAA, whereby the county will disperse $181,500. And further, the board finds and determines that this is for the public benefit to provide services to persons with disabilities and aged persons within Gila County. Good morning, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing Anna Medina from Central Arizona Aging, and she will present her presentation. And then following her presentation, behind Mr. O'Driscoll, we have a photo op check for all three of you to present to Ms. Medina so that you can have that moment.
Okay, thank you so much.
Where's the-
Good to see you again, Anna.
Good morning.
Good
How are
morning.
you? Good morning, Supervisor Christensen, Klein, and also Supervisor Humphreys and the public and staff. I'm very happy to be before you again this year to provide our annual report. As soon as we get that up, we'll go through it. But some outcomes for the year. I think a little bit of change in the reporting in that previous years. I had reported on previous year outcomes, but this year we decided because so much has occurred this last year that we're going to give you up to year-to-date outcome reporting. Sorry, what? Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, so we'll get started. I hope I know how to use this. So our annual agreement with Gila County provides $181,500 to be used within the region, which includes, not the region, with just Gila County, yearly to support our home delivered meal, congregate meal programs at our participating senior centers and through our home delivered meal routes, and then also case management, which is a requirement in order for us to provide home delivered meal service. Again, the report is for the funding period July 1st of 25 through 26. And our agency acts as the fiscal agent for the participating senior centers, and then there's some funding that is also allocated to our agency. As you can see, the breakdown of funds is the Payson Senior Center, providing services to Star Valley, the City of Globe, also the town of Hayden, which we are providing services there, and I'll go into that a little bit here in the presentation. The town of Miami, Pine Senior Center, and then case management services for our agency, which we provide here in the Gila County area, as well as Mom's Meals, which is a third party that we utilize when a senior center is unable to serve a specific geographic area, and those meals are delivered directly to a client's home, and then there's a portion of administration as well, and that makes up the breakdown for the $181,000. And please stop me at any point if you have any questions.
Okay.
The outcomes year to date are that we've been able to provide services to 1,244 individuals living within Gila County, nutrition services, and we're able to provide 99,734 meals that are provided to individuals, again, in congregate setting and through home delivered meals. Of those individuals, 1,297 individuals receive case management services, and then a little over 18,000 hours of case management were provided to clients and continue to be provided to them, and those for those that are homebound. Victories to report for you. During the last year, Payson reports that things are going incredibly well at the Payson Senior Center. There was some changeover in staffing over the last year and some changes that they made internally with programming. And now it appears that they have doubled attendance at the congregate meal site there. If you go into that site, it's incredibly heartwarming. There's so much activity going on. They say their calendar just stays incredibly busy. And it looks like many of the seniors in that area are really benefiting from the senior center. They continue to provide a nutritious lunch daily, and they have in the last year updated all their menus. So those are all things that surely are victories for the Payson Senior Center and for all seniors. Also, they report that they serve 121 meals daily. Many of our senior centers have moved to different routes where they're consolidating some meal service, but Payson Senior Center has continued to provide daily meals, which is incredibly important. That we always say that the meal is incredibly important in terms of ensuring that we reduce the risk of malnutrition, but that well check, the daily well check, is also of an incredible importance. And so you see here where they're reporting that they also, from time to time have to make 911 calls for clients that have fallen and they have found them in their home. There are times where a senior has fallen over the weekend and has been on the floor for days, and they're able to assist and ensure and prevent those catastrophic situations. In Miami, during the storms of September 25, the Miami Senior Center answered the call and ensured that the meal service continued. There was no stoppage of service, no gaps, and they became a lifeline for the local seniors in that area. When rising floodwaters threatened the home of one particular senior, a meal delivery driver recognized the danger and immediately coordinated with emergency response. And thanks to the quick actions of the Miami Senior Center and the family members, the client was safely evacuated and was able to continue to receive reports. So that's definitely a victory. In the Globe area, this last year, the home delivered meal clients were very appreciative, continuing to receive that well-balanced meal. The well checks as well, very much appreciated. And home delivered meal clients tell us all the time, I hope this program never ends because I don't know what I would do without it. Another victory in Globe, and one that we were able to use some of the opportunities we have to collaborate with some of our partners throughout the state and the region. Arizona Complete Health, which is one of the organizations that holds a Medicaid contract with the state, contacted us about a funding opportunity, and they wanted us to find a location, one of the senior centers that could benefit from their grant funding. And we identified that the Globe Senior Center needed a brand new van to transport individuals in the community. And so we submitted a grant application and were successful, and we were able to purchase a new passenger van for Globe last summer, and we were actually able to deliver it the week that the floods occurred. We brought the van up a little bit early because we knew that that's something that they would definitely need to be able to transport individuals in the community and improve mobility. The Hayden Senior Center closure. Last year when I was here, I think it was like a week before I made the presentation to the board, the town of Hayden had made a decision to close the senior center. That was in response to reductions in funding, also reallocation of funding due to population changes. And, it was a very unfortunate situation. We thought for sure that we were not going to be able to save that program and not be able to provide meals. But we went back and did some work internally with our staff and looked at our funding, and then met with the town of Hayden, and we established a agreement with them that we would step in and provide meal service there. Of course, we had to get the blessing of Department of Economic Security, that is the funder of our program, and we were able to reach an agreement with them, and the state approved a 6-month pilot plan where we were able to transition all of the home delivered meal clients to our service, which is service out of our Casa Grande kitchen. And so we have over the last year been coming up twice a week and delivered home delivered meals. Again, a situation where we had to condense some of the services, but none of the home delivered meal clients in the Hayden area went without service. So we're able to step in and do that. On the congregate meal side, we were able to get approval from the state to provide to-go service, so seniors could still access congregate meals, but it was a 5-meal pack that we put together, and they come up once a week. On Monday, seniors can come to the senior center and they can access that pack of meals to help support their nutritional needs. We did receive a renewal of that pilot plan earlier this year. And now where we are with it is that the state does want us to find a long-term solution to the situation in Hayden. We as well feel that the best scenario is for the Hayden Senior Center to reopen. We understand that we are going to have to look at maybe another way of approaching that, where it doesn't involve the town of Hayden spending funding that they do not have. So we're currently in talks with the Hayden with the Hayden City Council about considering a reopening of the center, maybe 4 or 5 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and we would continue to provide the nutrition service so that they're not overwhelmed with the cost of providing that piece of the program. And so we're still looking at the various options, whether the meals will come from our kitchen in Casa Grande or possibly through another partnering senior center. The other victory here is during the Globe flood event, I know, which was catastrophic, and so it really broke our hearts to see so many of the residents here, and of course our seniors who were impacted by it. But we were able to respond quickly to that situation. Our case management department keeps a listing of clients who might be in need of evacuation, and we maintain that information, and they acted quickly to contact all the clients to ensure that they were safe and also connect them with emergency response and also resources and supplies. Additionally, we worked with the City of Globe and the senior center staff to assess what was occurring at the senior center. There was some damage there, and they needed several days of closure to clean up the center. So we stepped in and provided 250 frozen meals from our kitchen in Casa Grande, also shelf-stable pantry items. You see some pictures there of the items that were brought up in the meals. Of course, bottled water, and all of those items were then distributed to the seniors here in Globe. And I think that is it. Yeah, as well, we provided grab and go congregate meals at the senior center so that seniors that typically assist that program also had access to nutrition support. The challenges, they continue to be consistent in terms of the cost of several things. Staff, of course, food cost is incredibly high, and fuel as well. Repairs to vehicles, those are challenges that we have to deal with almost consistently, but of course it's been incredibly difficult these last couple of years, but we continue to find other means to help support, and of course the dollars that you provide us every year are of great benefit, and so we're so thankful for that. Consistently recruiting volunteers, and then on the federal level and the state level, what we're experiencing is lack of increased funding. The Older Americans Act, which was passed in 1964, which funds a majority of nutrition programs and senior center programming, that act or that bill should be passed every 4 or 5 years, and it's been passed consistently up until last year with the change of the administration. The bill for the Older Americans Act was not passed, so we are in a vulnerable position. However, the continuing resolutions that have been passed have allowed for continued funding, but the funding itself is stagnant. Looking at other partnerships, there are limitations with that, but we continue to find opportunities where we can seek additional funding to help support the programs. Most recently, I met with one of the supervisors over at Pinal County, and I actually talked about Gila County and how much funds you put towards all of the senior center programming here. And in particular, we talked about the Hayden Senior Center, and they are interested in having a conversation with us about funding. I know we talked about that a little bit last year. So I am feeling optimistic about making sure that they understand all of the effort that you all put in here, and to be really an example to the other county in our region to help support programs. So we appreciate that. Just a little bit on the impact. Of course, all of the funding helps us to continue to ensure that seniors are aging safely in their communities. We want them to stay at home and have access to all of the amenities and support in the community. We want to ensure that they don't feel isolated, and so the senior center programming is important, but those daily connections with drivers and our volunteers to ensure that they are safe and that they have all of the resources available to them, and that they're not at risk of experiencing malnutrition. That truly is the impact, and it's been continuous from the board, and we appreciate it very much. I think that is it for me, and thank you. Do you have any questions or any
Thank you,
comments?
Anna. Supervisor Humphrey?
I have no questions. I just have a lot of thank yous for all of the people that you help. I know some elderly that you have made a big difference in their lives.
Thank you.
And so for that, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, on this one as well, I think it's important that we also reach out to our state and federal leaders to
Mhm.
let them know how important your program is. Like
Mhm.
the 4-H, that our youth and our elderly are very, very important. And I think our other needed leaders for the state and the nation need to know
Yeah.
what you have presented to us today, that they need to focus maybe
Yes.
a little more on some of the personal things rather than the other things that get tied up in. So thank
I-
you very, very much.
I appreciate that comment. And one of the things that we did do this year, which we're consistently advocating, we're meeting with state legislatures. In fact, we did an entire week worth of meetings with our state legislators. But something that we were able to do this year, and Mikey, who's here in the audience, she's our contracts manager and works directly with the senior centers. But we had a campaign where we had seniors, both home delivered meal participants and congregate meals, write a message to Congress and state legislators on a plate. And the campaign was Save My Lunch. And we delivered those to all of the state legislators as well as members of Congress. And so they are hearing from our seniors directly on the importance of funding these programs, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Klein.
Anna, thank you. Thank you for all your help for Hayden and Winkleman, that area down there. You know what? That area, or that center right there services a big chunk of Pinal County.
It does, yes.
You know, and there's no one else there. So,
Mhm.
so thank you for putting all that together. We'll be in touch with you
Yeah,
and get with you on some more ideas or whatever. But
I welcome that.
yeah,
Thank you.
you bet.
Okay.
So Anna, just to
Yes.
clarify, when you were giving us some numbers on how many meals you served,
Yes.
1,250 approximately,
Mhm.
is that per week, per month, per day?
Go back on that.
It was about the third slide or so.
Yeah, sorry, I have to get. Oh, there we go.
770 in Payson. Remember that?
So this is the year to date count. So if we look at Payson, 43,000 is what they've served year to date this year.
43,000.
Yes.
Okay.
That's just in the Payson's. Well, that's Payson and Star Valley. So that's a combination of congregate and home delivered meals. But they're delivering 120 per day. Correct, Mikey? 120 meals per day.
Okay, so total you're at 99,000.
99,000 for the entire
approximately.
county.
So your meals are like about, I was trying to do the math,
Yeah.
a couple dollars
Typically.
each to do this.
Yes. Yes.
That's really efficient, I think.
Yes, I can tell you that our funding, which is the Older Americans Act funding, some state funding, as well as your funding, once we allocate that to senior centers, that's only about 30% of the total budget. So cities and towns are footing most of the bill for these programs, and so those partnerships are incredibly important because the remainder of the cost for that meal is coming from cities and towns that are participating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And so what I'll do is I'll just call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve agreement number 050720026 with Pinal Gila Council for Senior Citizens doing business as Central Arizona Aging as presented. And further, the board finds and determines that this is for the public benefit to provide services to persons with disabilities and aged persons within Gila County.
Mr. Chair, I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Let's
Thank you so
all gather
much.
down here
Yeah.
for a photo.
In there. Look this way really quick. Oh. Hold on. Where do we look? Look here really quick. 1, 2, 3.
One more, please. Thank you.
Good luck catching this. We'll go through the drive-through.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Okay, everyone, let's keep moving.
Do you need, do ladies this for the record, Jonathan?
We're going to be on item 4B next. It's information discussion action to approve an economic development agreement. It's number 2026-0288 between Gila County and Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Incorporated in the amount of $1,809.05 to assist Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Incorporated with costs associated with refurbishing and repairing the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction tool trailer used by the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Trail crew, which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public. This is my item. I agreed to help them restore a trailer that was gifted to them through the Forest Service. So I appreciate the Forest Service providing the trailer, and they went ahead and did repairs, and now this is sort of a reimbursement for that project so that they can improve the trails and all of that in the Pine Strawberry area, which are crucial to access recreationally and also firefighting and rescues. So they do serve a great purpose. And I believe we might have, I don't even know who's in the room there, Lisa. Is there someone there? Yes. If you'd like to speak to the benefit of it very briefly, please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Supervisor Christensen, this is Michael Browning from Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction. I wanted to let you know that the trailer you mentioned is in use today. We have 16 volunteers working on the Buckshot Trail southeast of Pine. So this trailer is super useful. We are using it every week, sometimes twice a week, and we are building more miles of trails to attract more visitors to Gila County. So we just want to say thank you.
Thank
We have the truck team, we are using it, and we built it up very well, maintains all of our tools. We are in the process of getting our emblem, as well as your emblem, on the side of the trailers for just visual aspects. But we love it, we use it. Thank you very much.
Very good. And see, prior to this, they just had everything heaped in the back of a pickup truck. And was very cumbersome. So this will be a more permanent fix for them. And I'm very happy to do that. That's out of my constituent funds. Supervisor Humphrey, any questions?
No questions.
Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. With that, then I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Economic Development Agreement number 2026-0288 with Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction Incorporated as presented, and which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and next item is also mine. 4C, information discussion to action to approve economic development agreement number 2026-0285 between Gila County and American Legion Payson Post 147, the Honor Guard Incorporated, in the amount of $3,319.82 to purchase 2 full sets of top-of-the-line flags to be used at the Gila County Rally Around the Flags project, which the board is determined to be for the benefit of the public. Do we have anyone there to speak to this? No.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
My name is Jeff Dahlgren. I'm a part of the basic military honor guard, and we'd like to hope that you agree to spend the money to put the flagpoles in. If you do so, we'd love to do a ceremony to raise those flags.
Okay, very good. And we'll make sure that we try and make all that happen. This is out of my constituent funds to purchase 2 full sets of flags since they do wear out. And then that way, we'll have some time period there before any additional costs may be incurred by that. So thank you for coming. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions. Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, thank you for coming and all of that. And so I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve Economic Development Agreement number 2026-0285 with the American Legion Payson Post number 147 Honor Guard Incorporated as presented, and which the board has determined to be for the benefit of the public.
Mr. Chair, I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. All right. Item 4D. Mr. Sandoval, you're going to present on this one. Information, discussion, action to approve a request for the Gila County Schools Superintendent on behalf of Young Elementary School District 5 to include an additional $175,000 in the calculation for the district's tax levy for fiscal year 26-27 due to a cash deficit. What do we have here?
Okay, well, let me just give you an introduction real quickly to what this gentleman has faced, and I'm going to introduce him. I'll give you the details. Since Linda Cheney retired about 9 years ago in young schools, there have been just a cavalcade of superintendents and business managers and board members that have resigned, and I've appointed on, and it's gone for years and years. 2 years ago, this superintendent, Chad Nippen, came in. He has cleaned up many messes and has been forced to clean up many messes, including things that came out of the blue, like a 50-year-old well that all of a sudden ADEQ decided was not legal. So we had to find water experts to clean up the well, or not clean up the well, certify the well. He had 2 years of Auditor General reports that he had to address, that he's still addressing. And most recently, some genius at the State Department decided that the young high school is not legitimate. So we'll be enrolling, Mr. Klein, you in our adult education classes. No, so we have to unravel that. In fact, I'm going to go to my office with him right after this to email Mr. Horn's chief executive officer to say, what in the world is going on? So he just had to unravel one thing after another. So there are some budget issues, and I'm going to let him give you the details for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Once again, my name is Chad Knippen, Superintendent Principal at Young School. And I came in the school year 24-25. And unfortunately, the district was not left financially in a good position. We spent the first year just trying to collect a lot of funds from school facilities, the grants that were delinquent, and in our corrective action report. So after that year, we did a lot to get that cleaned up. That was, we came in under budget that year. The next year was the first year I had ability in planning a budget, which was the 25-26 school year, this year that just finished. And we were able to, we tried to really cut the budget, but we knew there was a deficit. We were trying to make sure that we could that our funds were being spent properly. We cut quite a bit. And as a result, we ended up really kind of hurting ourselves with safety and with just facilities being cleaned, repaired, maintained. But we did find out what we really need to operate. But we did come in quite a bit under budget. During this time, the business manager left, and we've gone through a few business managers, and I don't think there's been anybody consistent in the position for probably the last 10 years or so. We contracted out with a public accountant, certified public accountant, Heinfield Meach, and one of the things that we wanted to look at this year, after tackling the two different things, having an appropriate budget, is this deficit. Why do we have a deficit? He went back approximately 10 years. He looked at everything. I wanted to know, are we overspending? Are we not planning properly? What's happening? And what the determination we came out is, Young's a pretty small community. And when we don't collect enough taxes, or when taxes are collected, it can greatly impact a very small school when just 20, 30 people don't pay their taxes. You know, it's going to affect you more than on a big city. You see it real quick. And looking back to 2014, 15, it seems there was 4 years where there were just not enough taxes collected. We did receive some additional state aid, but it was about $100,000 a year, just short of that. And it came up to about $380,000 from 15, 16, 17, 18 fiscal years. And that's kind of been carrying along. And we've got it down to where we were able to put back, I think, about $100,000 into this year, which were due to our cuts that we made at the school, the district level. However, there had been a few more years, and I think the deficit is right about $500,000 right now. So that'll come down. So what, at the advice of our accountant, he recommended that we go to try and get a tax levy. And we don't want to do this all at once. We want to take a look at it and year by year, in addition to what cuts we can make, and see if we can draw that down. So we're asking for $175,000 this year. We want to see where that brings us. And if it gets us to where we need to be, that can be reduced. But I do know we're not overspending. You know, we're planning appropriately. Our challenge seems to be collecting the amount of taxes that we do in the formula when our budgets are created. So it's a little bit higher than my knowledge when it comes to the how these budgets are really created. There's a lot that goes into them and the funding sources, but it's just we're not getting what we need, or what we should be getting. So that's our biggest challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that explanation, because when I was reading my book, it says the additional tax levy is a direct effect of errors made in budget forms in previous fiscal years. So that, you know, that kind of brought a concern to me. And it's not just like one episode. It's been stacking up for quite some time. So that answered a lot of questions. And so the only thing I have is thank you for diving into that deep to get it figured out, not only today, but for the cause and creation and what needs to go forward in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Chad, thank you.
Yes.
This has been a problem, and it's been a problem for a while, like you just said. You know, your guys' budget, I don't know how anybody can interpret that anyway in the process. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I'm glad you've dug into it deep enough to straighten it all out and get it on the right track. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a request for the Gila County Schools Superintendent on behalf of the Young Elementary School District Number 5 to include an additional $175,000 in the calculations for the district's tax levy for fiscal year 2026-2027 as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item 4E is going to be information, discussion, action to approve the fiscal year 2027 intergovernmental agreement between the town of Payson and Gila County for centralized management of the Gila 911 network for the performance period of July 1, 26 through June 30th, 2027. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is our annual agreement between Gila County and the town of Payson. Excuse me. And there were a few minor changes that were triggered by a notification from the state 911 office that they may not be able to fully fund call management equipment or the call handling equipment for all of the PSAPs across the state. However, this morning I did get a notification by email that the state has fully funded all of the PSAPs. And so while this, we wouldn't have had to do the minor changes, it's okay that we did, because they will hold us over should that ever happen again. Okay. So there was a change to coordinate funding requests and reimbursements. It was the former wording talked about the request through the state. Well, you know, if we need to go after additional funding to cover our call handling equipment, we needed to change that and just make it general, okay? And then we have, the allocation, should there be an allocation shortfall, it needs to be very clear that each PSAP contributes their portion to the full payment of the monthly services. And so that's why I made that change. And the title is the Gila 911 Network. It just defines all of the responsibilities, the 911 coordination from Gila County for Gila County and for the town of Payson. Okay, and otherwise everything else is the same. We pay the bills, and at this point in time, we will not have to be asking for reimbursement from the town of Payson.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey,
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Never thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2027 intergovernmental agreement with the town of Payson for centralized management of the Gila 911 network as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second it.
A motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. Next, we have 4F, information discussion action to approve a First Amendment to Department of Public Safety contract number 2025-068 for the local border support grant from the Arizona Department of Public Safety to allow the Gila County Sheriff's Office to expend funds through December 31st, 2026 and complete end of program reporting by the last business day of January 31st, 27. And we have Cole Labonte.
Yeah, good morning, Chairman Christensen, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. I got one that's a little more straightforward than the last couple I've had for you guys. As part of this border support funding, the LPR project that I presented to you guys a couple meetings back, I haven't been able to get a contractor to finalize the installation of these. The amount of money I had budgeted was far less than what these companies wanted. So in order to try to find the right company and not spend a ton of money, I need to extend this until I find the right vendor to do the work for us. So this just allows us to extend it through the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah, thank you, Cole. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the First Amendment to Department of Public Safety contract number 2025-068 for the local border support grant as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Cole. Item 4G. Are you still with me?
Yes.
Information discussion action to approve amendment number 2 to service agreement number 071124, which is the 800 radio contract with C&M Communications, extending the agreement through June 30th, 27 for a renewal term amount not to exceed $83,114.16.
Yeah, so what this contract is, and it's a budgeted item for us, it's not a grant item. This item is the licensing service fees we pay to C&M Communications for our encrypted digital radios. It's basically $25 per radio per month. We've got a lot of radios out there between all of our volunteers and the sheriff's office. This allows us to add a few to what we are currently using over the next year. We hope to stay under that, but it's hard to judge what's going to happen.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm good. Thank you, Cole.
Yeah.
Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
They're not exactly a specific order.
You can switch it up once in a while. Yeah.
Okay, so with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 2 to service agreement number 071124 with C&M Communications as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Cole.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole.
4H is information discussion action to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number DIL RFP 2026-006. It's for lead hazard reduction and healthy homes services. Hello, Josh.
Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors. So a few months ago, we received a $4.8 million lead abatement grant for Gila County. We finally have everything put together to go out to bid to have a contractor come on that will do the testing in the homes and then lead abatement in any homes that they find lead in. There's also a $400,000 healthy homes part of money in there. So if they were to encounter homes, probably very specific, like a home that had mold or some other kinds of issues that that are more difficult to take care of with our weatherization funds that we receive, we'll try to kind of target some of those homes that we're working on with an overall goal of, I think it's 250 certified houses at the end of the 4-year period, which I think we'll probably be able to do way more than that, but that's the overarching goal. To answer Supervisor Humphrey's question, hopefully before he asks, this one would require the same fingerprint clearance cards for contractors to go into the homes because we're going into low-income homes with children or people with special needs. So we do require that with the contractor. But any contractors that do apply, there is money for training in the program. So outside of that, that's really it.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
Is there funding to help contractors with some of the training?
Correct, yes.
Good, thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
Good, thanks, Josh.
Thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the advertisement of request for proposal number GIL-RFP-2026-006 as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. For I is information, discussion, action to approve an independent contractor agreement, 2026-27. Utility Assistance Program contract number 07012026-27 with Arizona Community Action Association doing business as the Wildfire and the Gila County Community Services Division Community Action Program, whereby Wildfire will administer funding in the amount of $181,244, which will be used to provide weatherization services, utility repair and replacement, utility deposit and bill assistance to eligible citizens residing in Gila County for the period of July 1, 26 through June 30th, 27.
It's a mouthful. Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. So this money is almost all comes from APS and Southwest Gas. We receive it in two different directions. Most of it goes to Department of Economic Security, so we get most of our funding from AZDES. Then there's another portion of the funding that they pay to Community Action Alliance of Arizona, which is now Wildfire. They take their 18% administrative fee and then they feed the rest of the money to Gila County as well. So both sets of money come from Southwest Gas and APS, both primarily used for helping usually utility assistance. And then that's why we receive the two pots of money. Community Action Alliance does the lobbying for a lot of these funds and those things at the state level.
Okay, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good.
Thank you, Josh. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve independent contractor agreement 2026-27, utility assistance programs contract number 07012026-27 with Arizona Community Action Association, DBA Wildfire, and Gila County Community Action Program as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Josh. Okay, now we're on to 4J, information, discussion, action to adopt a resolution 260602, entering into an easement agreement for flood damage repair and future maintenance with BHP Copper. Matt Renshaw, what do we have on this one?
Thank you, Supervisor Christensen, Supervisor Humphrey, and Supervisor Klein. Appreciate the time. These next two items are dealing with the NRCS projects and the repairs that are needed for those. They're set up in two different agenda items. One, because they're slightly different in the way that the easements are set up. This first one is the drainage or the temporary construction easement for the BHP Copper. That's the one that goes up Copper Hills Road. And then the next ones are for the individual residences up Six Shooter Canyon. So this basically is a grant of easement from BHP to Gila County to allow us to go onto BHP property to install the flood mitigation projects, the repairs, and then to continually maintain those. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Matt. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, so the easements are just to be able to do the work.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Standard stuff. Okay, thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution number 26-06-02.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Are you in the next one?
I am.
2K, item 4K is information discussion action to adopt resolution 26-06-03. And it's accepting a drainage easement from Dillard R. and Joe Ann Thetford and Randall B. Sullivan, Robert Olin, and Yvonne Ann Corley, John L. Roberts Jr., Roy E. Smith, Arizona Reservation Ministries, and Carol A. Jensen.
These are the individuals on 6 Shooter Canyon. These ones are permanent drainage easements that are granted to the county so that we can go on in the future and maintain the improvements.
Okay, Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I noticed that we had a difficulty with one or two of these. Has it put us kind of behind on schedule, or are we still doing pretty good?
No, we're still doing well with the schedule as far as the project's completed, and I'll address that later in the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, Matt. Thanks.
Okay, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution number 26-06-03.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Next item is 4L. I will call for a motion to recess as the Gila County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Gila County Library District Board of Directors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
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 All right, we have information discussion action to adopt the fiscal year 2026 to 27 tentative budget in the amount of $2,938,979 for the Gila County Library District. Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. Natalie asked me to present this agenda item for her this morning. She is our district librarian, and this is our annual tentative budget adoption for the Gila County Library District. As you mentioned, the dollar amount is $2,938,979.
Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
That about where we were last year?
This reflects the increased tax revenue for increased net assessed values, but keeping the tax rate the same at 24.25 cents.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Maren. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 tentative budget in the amount of $2,938,979 for the Gila County Library District.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I will now call for a motion to adjourn as the Gila County Library District Board of Directors and convene as the Gila County Flood Control District Board of Directors.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second it.
Those in favor say aye.
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 4M is information discussion action to adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 tentative budget in the amount of $744,361 for the Gila County Flood Control District. Maren.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. This morning, this is the operational budget for the Flood Control District for 2027. Any capital improvements beyond that will be reflected in the Gila County budget itself. That way you can see the operational cost of the Flood Control District specifically on its own. I just wanted to clarify why the NRCS projects and such are not reflected here. This is the operational cost of the Flood Control District.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
So this is a bit more money than we normally put into this, isn't it?
There's a little bit more expense expected, yes.
Okay, and this is out general fund money?
It is its own fund. It rolls up to the general fund on financial statements.
That's
Sorry.
a roundabout way of putting it, but thank you, Maren.
Yeah, so it appears as its own fund, but because the dollar amount, there's a technical threshold for something to be its own fund. $744,000 is not enough for it to be its own fund for financial statement reporting. So we have it broken out for you, and because it's its own taxing district, we have to break it out anyway. even though you don't levy a tax.
Thank you for clarifying that part too. Thank you.
So it's not any clearer to me, but thank you, because I know we don't collect a tax for that.
Correct.
And so we have to put money into it in
Correct.
order to show what we're spending there?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All righty. And thank you for also giving us an estimate of if we wanted to, which we have not decided to, if we wanted to fund this district with tax dollars, what that would look like per penny that we would charge.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for that. And with that, then I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the FY 2026-2027 tentative budget in the amount of $744,361 for Gila County Flood Control District.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, I'll call for a motion to adjourn as the Gila County Flood Control District Board of Directors and convene as the Gila County Street Lighting Improvement District Board of Directors.
I'll second it.
Well, those in favor say aye.
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 Very good. We're on to 4N, information, discussion, action to adopt the fiscal year 26-27 tentative budgets for the Gila County Street Lighting Improvement District as follows. The Pine Slid is 2,670. Apache Hills Slid 4,185. Upper Glendale Central Heights Slid 1,833. East Verde Park Slid 5,468. Miami Gardens Slid 4,193. Midland Central Heights Slid 20,886. And Clay Pool Lower Miami Slid for 34,994.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. These amounts reflect the amount that is required to pay the APS bill for each of these street lighting improvement districts to have streetlights on. There are no rate increases this year. This just reflects the same rate as last year applied to this year's net assessed values.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 tentative budget for the Gila County Street Lighting Improvement District as followed. Pine Slid 2,670. Apache Hills Slid 4,185. Upper Glendale Central Heights Slid 1,833. East Verde Park Slid 5,468. Miami Gardens Slid 4,193. Midland Central Heights Slid $20,886, and the Claypool Lower Miami Slid $34,994.
And I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, very good. All right, next we'll call for a motion to adjourn as the Board of Directors for the Gila County Street Lighting Improvement District and convene as the Gila County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, Aaron, we're moving through 4O. Information, discussion, action to adopt fiscal year 26-27 Gila County tentative budget in the amount of $217,149,784, authorized the publication of the summary budget and set the public hearing for July 21st, 2026 to adopt the final fiscal year 2026-27 Gila County budget. Mary,
Yes,
you have a
thank
new
you.
record.
We do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning again. Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein, Chairman Christensen. As Chairman said, this is a new record. Mr. O'Driscoll and Mr. Beck have an explanation of where the difference arises from. It is almost entirely attributable to flood recovery projects and the way that we have to account for all the possible income, all the possible expenditures, and then the fact that we have to reimburse ourselves. So that is an enormous number, and it is giving me goosebumps. But here we are. I did put together a brief presentation for you and our constituents so that we are all on the same page here. If you don't mind, I'll take a few moments to walk through that. I know we're running long this morning, so I want to be respectful of your time. Our three top priorities: balanced budget, no tax rate increases, and flood recovery continues. Reiterating those top priorities, we have flood recovery, equipment and infrastructure maintenance and investment, employee satisfaction, morale and retention, transparent stewardship, and a balanced budget. While we've been discussing budget needs, something that came up during our last work session was the importance of making sure that we highlight the blighted property funding in our budget. Because of the excellent new legislation that our champions were able to get passed for us, we have rolled over $43,000 from the 2026 budget. So there's $143,000 available in 2027 for blighted property abatement. For RV hauling out of the National Forest, we talked to the folks in our staff here at Gila County who run that program, and they indicated that $25,000 is still a sufficient funding amount for 2027, and they will reevaluate again for 2028. For the cooperative extension, who you heard from this morning, I'd like to make sure that we're all on the same page. The $70,000 is the cash cost. We write quarterly checks to them in the amount of $17,500. That $70,000 does not include Gila County's non-cash cost of supporting the cooperative extension at the University of Arizona. Examples of those non-cash costs include office space, which includes all the expenses that go with office space, such as electricity and other utilities. That information can be provided to you if you'd like. I just wanted to make sure that you understood the $70,000 is that quarterly amount. There are other items in the budget that you have specifically asked for. These three I knew were coming up today or had come up at the last work session, so we made sure we pointed those out here. So when we look back on it, we can remember that those were vital. These are fiscal highlights for 2027. Your 2027 expenditure limit, which is set by the Arizona Economic Estimates Commission, is $54,535,113. It represents about a 10% increase over previous year. The 2027 proposed primary property tax levy for Gila County, maintaining a tax rate of $4.19, is $28,957,172.12. The increase over prior year is attributable to net assessed value and new construction.
So Maren, if you had a number associated with that increase, could you give me an estimate? Approximate?
I can, just a second here.
We're almost at 29 million there.
We are, and last year, so for 2026, and you can see this in the second to last slide in your packet. I'll just hop there so that those watching online can see the number themselves. Okay, in the 2026 column, line 3A, so I don't think the laser on this works. So we'll be comparing, I'll step over here if you don't mind.
So it's 28 million.
Yes, so for 2026, you had 28,195,617. For 2027, using the same tax rate, it will be 28,957,172 for a difference of, I believe the difference is 760,000 and change.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for getting you out of order there.
Oh, absolutely. It's more important to have the information. And if that is something that you would like me to include at the final budget adoption as a clarifying slide, I'd be happy to do so.
Appreciate your attitude.
In fact, I will leave myself a note to do that. Okay. This slide is simply information. These are upcoming dates that are important to both the Board of Supervisors and all of our constituents. Our truth and taxation hearing, as well as our final budget adoption, will be July 21st. Then on the third Monday of August, which is August 17th this year, we will do our final tax rate adoption. And that is when you, as the Gila County Board of Supervisors, adopt Gila County's tax rate and levy, as well as the library districts that you discussed earlier, the street lighting improvement districts, the schools, and all the special districts here in Gila County, including NAVIT, CIVIT, the water improvement districts, and those other entities. Just emphasizing that the 2027 primary property tax rate, unchanged from prior years, is $4.19. We looked back, and this is unchanged for 15 years now. So again, we're reiterating the primary property taxes being $28,957,000, and our total budget capacity of $217,149,784, including capacity for all flood recovery projects, reimbursements, bond, and the $5 million that Governor Hobbs signed into law Saturday, that ensures that Gila County will receive that money from the state. Later this morning, we're going to have a work session item to talk about salary plan options. This slide is included here solely as information. The way Mr. O'Driscoll, Mr. Beck, and I built the budget, both of these options are open to you. Even better, with Mr. O'Driscoll and Mr. Beck's support, we have been able to find the money for the salary plan without touching the primary property tax revenue. We have found other sources within the budget to create these opportunities for you. The two opportunities that we will be discussing later in a work session format are a 2.8% across the board increase, which would cost $706,646.63, or a 3.5% across the board increase, which would cost about $90,000 more than that. The 2.8 is based on the Social Security Consumer Price Index increase from January of 2026. The 3.5% was the number that we came up with when we considered that we were unable to provide a mid-year raise to staff during fiscal 26. So that would be an opportunity if the board so chose. After this slide, we just have our two summary schedules. These are the schedules that we'll be presenting in the newspaper. These are the statutorily required schedules. And as Mr. Klein pointed out earlier with the school district, these schedules do not make sense to any normal person who, pretty much if you can drive a standard transmission, these don't make sense to you, right? Normal people. But these are the schedules that are required by the state. We do see here in the bottom corner, you can see that increase in the expenditure limit. You can also see where our flood projects are in this capital projects fund, which is just about in the middle of the page, where we have 74 million, about 74.5 million. That number is dramatically increased over the 13.5 million that you see in that same column at the top line. So should you have a constituent ask you, where is that budget increase? You can look at that top line under capital projects and that bottom line under capital projects, and you can say, boom, right? There is a $61 million difference right there. And that way you have the tools you need to have those really good conversations with your constituents, with us as staff during work session, however you need to know that. And similarly, you can follow other lines across that work out the same way. And then the slide after that is Schedule B, which shows tax rate and tax levy information for 2027 in the right-hand column. This is like the top and bottom of a page shown side by side. So 26 is the left-hand column, 27 is the right-hand column, and we do show toward the bottom of the left-hand screen, we show approximately where we are with property taxes collected year to date for 2026. And we are, for all the taxes combined, at just over 29.2 million compared to a total combined levy of 30.5 million. And that's where you would expect to be around now. We still have several more weeks of information to gather and more deposits to make, but that is where we are at this time. Also of note on this page, the very top number under the years where you have 43,467,000 under 2026, and then the 44,336,350 under 2027. That is your maximum allowable primary property tax levy. So your maximum allowable is 440,336,000. Using the 419 rate, the levy is the 28,957,000, which provides you with that information for yourselves, for our constituents, and if there's ever a question about whether or not we are near our maximum levy, you can see right there that there is still quite a bit of room before we get to that maximum levy. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I know that Mr. O'Driscoll and Mr. Beck would also be willing to answer questions if you'd prefer to ask them. They have been instrumental in making sure that we are addressing all the needs and concerns of Gila County while being wise, transparent, and good stewards.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and I know you put a lot of work into this. You guys, everyone does. So Supervisor Humphrey, any questions or comments?
No, I think you did a pretty thorough job for me in helping me understand. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. I appreciate that.
Supervisor Klein.
So just to double check on our bond, our more recent bond, Marin, where we bonded 18 million if we need it, you went ahead and had to include all that into this budget, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I had to include it as bond proceeds, as paying ourselves back, and as paying back the maximum. Right, if we get more money in from FEMA, for example, if we get that federal deck, paying back the loan faster than our amortization schedule. So that's all built in there. That's why that number is much larger than the 18.2 million.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Marin. And just to let everyone know, the more I learn about how government budgets and stuff work, this 217 million is not what we will spend, but we have to have that number in case we have to spend it. And so if we would have received this last Saturday, $100 million grant praise the Lord if that would have happened, then that 100 million would have been reflected as $317 million as possible spending. But we're likely never going to even approach getting close to spending that. It's different than a household budget.
Absolutely.
And
that's
so
correct.
as long as people understand, this is throwing in all of our reserve, our savings, our grants, our bonds, everything in there as a possible to spend. That's why we have that number. And so I really appreciate it. It doesn't scare me to have that number because I know we're not going to come close to spending that. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 Gila County tentative budget in the amount of $217,149,784. Authorize the publication of the summary budget and set the public hearing for July 21st, 2026 and adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 Gila County budget.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, Mayor, let's go to 4P, information discussion action to adopt resolution 260604, authorizing the renewal of Gila County's membership in the Arizona Local Government Employee Benefit Trust and appointing trustees to serve during the renewal period until June 30th, 2029.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning again, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. This is required every few years from the benefit trust. The members of the trust voted unanimously to allow Gila County to remain a member. Our Board of Supervisors adopted the insurance rates back in April. Our current team didn't know that this piece needed to get done, so we brought it to you today. And this allows all of our employees to continue receiving health insurance benefits and provides for the county manager and the deputy county manager to represent Gila County as trustees and alternate trustee to the Arizona Local Government Employee Benefit Trust.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 260604.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. 4Q is information discussion action to approve an increase of constable salaries for precincts of Payson and Globe as outlined in the ARS 11-424.01 salaries of constables. Definition, Maren.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning again. This particular item is spelled out in statute that the Board of Supervisors is required to set constable salaries for each precinct in the county for the following January during a June board meeting. Each of our precincts falls under a different section of the revised statute. Payson falls under section C5 based on registered voters. Globe falls under C4. As such, they have different salary ranges for each constable. Currently, our Payson constable salary is $66,974. Our Globe constable salary is $50,000. Again, those are different because of the number of registered voters in each precinct. When Mr. O'Driscoll, Mr. Beck, and I did our research, we learned that the maximum statutory salaries for each of those precincts would be $75,000 for the Payson precinct and $56,000 for the Globe precinct. We are bringing that to you today, recommending the maximum because this would remain in effect for 4 years from January. So it would go into effect January of 2027 and it would last until 2031. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, going back to salary plan options, if this is a max pay scale for them and they get a 2.8, is that going to throw them over the maximum?
They're not allowed to participate, just as I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
Yep,
It
electeds set by statute are not included in our
okay,
increases.
well, thank you.
What? Supervisor Klein.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a long overdue increase, actually, I think. So they process a lot of paperwork and information. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an increase of constable salaries for the Payson and Globe precincts as outlined in ARS 11424.01 to 75,000 for the Payson Constable Precinct and 56,000 for the Globe Constable Precinct, effective January 1st, 2027.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4R, information discussion action to authorize the preparation and implementation of budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for fiscal year 2026.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a statutory requirement that anytime more than $50,000 moves between funds, whether budgeted or unbudgeted, it comes to the Board of Supervisors for approval. We are asking permission to prepare those transfers. They will not be processed until obviously until we've made sure that they are correct. And we will work closely with Heinfeld Meach, which is our CPA firm, and county leadership to ensure that these are done correctly, and we will bring them back to you for approval when they are prepared and ready to go.
Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I think I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to authorize the preparation and implementation of budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for FY 2026 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, 4S, information discussion action to approve an amendment number 4 to contract number 041823A with A2Zen LLC doing business as the Sanders Family Transport for transport of autopsy services, increasing the maximum compensation for the July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 26, contract term from $75,000 to $90,000.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for the remainder of the current fiscal year. We are not asking for an increase for next fiscal year. Each year on these contracts, we set an expected ceiling, and we have different vendors throughout the county that service different communities. The need is higher for the communities serviced by A2Zen DBA Sanders Family Transport. So we are here today to ask for that increase so that we can compensate the vendor for the services that they have provided and will provide through June 30th.
Okay, you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
With that, I will call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 4 to contract number 041823A with A2Zen LLC doing business as Sanders Family Transport as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
I
you
think
all
your
very
term
much.
is over.
I appreciate it.
Right. Item 4T is information discussion action to elect a chairman and vice chairman of the Board of Supervisors for the term of 16 months, which will become effective June 17th. That's tomorrow, 2026. And thank you, Michael. My initial on this was to delay this vote because I think this could be, there could be some contention here, and I don't want that. I think we need to work together as a team. And so I don't know how this is going to come out, but it was a request from Supervisor Klein that we do vote on it. And so I'm granting that request. So what do we have here, Michael?
Chairman and members of the board, thank you. So on February 4th, 2025, the Board of Supervisors elected Supervisor Christensen as its chairman and Supervisor Klein as its vice chairman. The Board of Supervisors may consider electing a new chairman and vice chairman at this time for a term of 16 months. If a new chairman is elected, the suggested motion would be to make the effective date tomorrow, which will allow the staff the time to change the name on some of the items that will be presented to the board in the near future. And so that's the item in front of the three of you right now.
Thank you, Michael. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions. And if it's a nomination, I would like to nominate myself as chairman of the board, because I didn't take it last time because I had some family issues. And with all of these projects going on in my district at this point, from the flood recovery, the landfill expansion, and a lot of these things, I feel that I should step up and ask to be chairman of the board.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
So,
I'll call for a motion in a minute.
yeah, we're still in discussion.
We're still in discussion.
So this was an agreement we all three made way back when Tommy was on the board. And the reason we did that, just to remind everybody, is when during Tommy's years of being on the board, the chairmanship didn't really ever change. They held it. And so we all felt at the time that this was a way to equally go through and each of us take 16 months as a turn on the chairmanship, which I still agree with. I agreed with it then, I agree with it now. One of the things I think that gets confused is the chairmanship has nothing to do with anything except orchestrating this meeting. That is it. We've always worked by the way of it doesn't matter our differences or whatever. If somebody came to the chair and wanted to put something on the agenda, it was always placed on the agenda. Not once have I seen any one of us through all these years play games with that. And I don't expect to see anything like that happen in the future. And, but I think at times it gets lost at the fact that chairmanship, for whatever reason, you may think it's prestigious. I don't think it is when you're sitting here signing a stack of papers about this high every meeting, because all your power is running this meeting right here and working with the agenda. And I think as long as we keep up the idea that regardless of who's the chairman, that remains in place, and that will be the case. And I believe that Humphrey will. I don't have a problem. I'll take it at the last of this term, the last 16 months. Doesn't matter to me. But if we do that, then what I would like to do is I can either hold the vice chair or give it up to Steve, however that goes. So that just brings everybody up to why we came up with that 16 months. And Marion's here and she's nodding her head, so I got it right. So thank you. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. So I have served the last 2 terms, almost 32 months approximately. I've enjoyed it. I've felt I've done a good job, and so I'm willing to serve in any way that I'm asked to. So I do believe we're in a very transitional point right now with Gila County, and so I would like to make sure that the continuity continues. I agree that the power of a chairman is basically not much more than a vote and signatures, but I would add to that I do believe it's a little more than that. There is guidance that the chairman helps provide during the process of development of the agendas and things. Not that they get a say-so in decision making, but it does help the process. And so I am willing to allow another to serve in that capacity. It's not something that I'm after as some kind of a prestigious position. I will serve, and I have loved serving so far in that capacity. So with that, then I will call for a motion.
Tim already made it. Are you gonna make it again?
Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion for myself to sit as chairman of the board.
Now you also have to include the vice chair in the motion.
I guess I would nominate Supervisor Klein for vice chair.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'd rather you take the vice chair.
Okay, I'll change my motion. Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion for myself to sit as chairman of the Board of Supervisors and to have present chairman of the board, Supervisor Christian, sit as vice chair of the Board of Supervisors
To begin tomorrow.
to begin tomorrow.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second then. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and it's been a pleasure to serve. With that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. All right, Michael, let's move on to for you. It's for you. Information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 1 to professional services contractor 070825 with Policy Development Group, according to professional lobbyist services, clarifying the initial contract term and extending the contract through June 30th, 2027. Is this Todd and Andy we're talking about?
That is correct, Chairman, members of the board, and thank you for letting me present this. So for $72,000, what I'd like to do is actually just present one item that they've assisted with my team on that is just helped Gila County significantly. So what we're talking about is, do we get value of the $72,000? Right after the floods, Todd and Andy called me and said, what can we do for Gila County? And they said, we need to get money to Gila County. And we came up with a plan to submit legislation to the down to Phoenix to get $20 to $25 million for Gila County. At that time, I called Mr. Beck and said, we need some legislation written as soon as possible, which him and his team did. They submitted it. And then many of you know that I've asked for you to come down to Phoenix to testify on behalf of Gila County for some of the flood recovery efforts. And the governor signed a budget which included $10 million. That originally started with 25, but $10 million is going to be a huge help to Southern Gila County. $5 million of that goes to Gila County itself. 2.5 million goes to the town of Miami, and 2.5 goes to the city of Globe. It's going to be an incredibly important piece for our recovery efforts. And in a future board meeting, a work session, Marin and her team will present some ideas we have to utilize that $5 million. But that was Todd and Andy. So I think we're getting quite a bargain for $72,000 a year, seeing how they just assisted Gila County with a $5 million bill that Governor Hobb signed on Saturday. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this particular contract, but it is working with their group to get any kind of legislation at the local level, at the state level, with all three of you. This past legislative session, Andy and Todd were able to get 3 out of 3 bills signed. So we have 100% this year, which is pretty incredible. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about this contract.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions. I feel as if they do a fantastic job. I mean, I've been trying to get a blight bill in front of legislature for 8 years, and not only did we get it before legislature on the blight bill, but we made it all the way through to the governor's signature. So I don't believe we could have done that without their help. So I appreciate them very much and their willingness to talk to us about anything that we like to move forward on, and they're extremely aggressive and work well in the legislature. So to me, I have a double thumbs up for them.
Thank you, sir.
Supervisor Klein.
So I agree with Tim. Todd and Andy have done more than that even. They worked with us now quite a while. They've helped with the vet center on the authority to run a vet center. They've worked with the bills, of course. I think they were part of our bridge, Tunnel Creek Bridge. They've worked with our state reps on money and everything else. So they've done a tremendous job over these years, way better than our federal lobbyist has. And so as far as I'm concerned, they're well worth what we're paying for them. And we do need to keep them on board.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Michael, there's just no doubt that the benefit here is tremendous. And Tom and Andy, I have a lot of respect for them. They do very well. So I totally support this. So with that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 1 to professional services contract number 070825 with Policy Development Group Incorporated as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, 4V, information discussion action to approve amendment number 2 to professional services contract number 012924, the Federal Relations Services with BOS Public Affairs Group LLC, extending the contract term through July 30th, 2027 for a maximum not to exceed compensation of $88,000.
Chairman, members of the board, so this is the federal lobbyist contract that Supervisor Klein mentioned in the previous item. And the value for this particular contract is different than the Andy and Todd contract. So I'd like you to consider that this value is completely different. We work on the federal level with this company, and they do have the connections and open the doors for some federal funding. And to give you an example, this year, they helped our team and the Sheriff's Office submit a $1 million earmark for vehicles, new vehicles. And at this time, it's moved on to the next approval level at the federal level. So they do help us get some of these earmarks. And several years ago, they assisted us in getting an earmark for the 88 cabin out at Pleasant Valley Veterans Retreat for $333,000. So it's a different kind of value, different kind of funding. They do assist staff in getting to the right people at the federal level if we have issues with the USDA, with the U.S. Forest Service, and those kinds of things. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have regarding this particular contract.
Very good. Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
I have nothing against those ladies. I mean, they're good ladies, and but quite honestly, I haven't seen the benefit from them that I have out of Todd and Andy. I just haven't. And when it comes to going on the Hill and talking to legislatures or whoever you want to talk to, their doors are open. The phone call, you can make those. We don't have to have somebody lead us around on Capitol Hill. And so I know there's probably some few things like maybe the ADA cabin maybe or whatever it is, but I just don't see that. I don't see a lot of the benefit out of that. Now, for $88,000, you know, the $330,000 for the cabin paid for itself, I guess, if you looked at it that way. We've dealt with them on other transportation stuff for money. We're probably going to be dealing with them again on FH12 for federal funds. I don't set my sights on anything coming out of it. That's the problem that I have, not compared to Andy and Todd. I haven't seen that return yet. And, you know, things are dysfunctional in DC. We all see that. And so it may not entirely be their fault. But anyway, that's my spill.
Michael, I have a tendency to agree with Supervisor Klein. You and I have actually talked about this. We have several people that we pay, lobby kind of groups. This is another one. Now, nothing against the people at all, but is our PILT funding dependent on us supplying money to these people? In other words, is their influence such that actually influences the PILT funding coming to Arizona? I realized that they probably had a part in the ADA cabin, but were they the key factor in that? Or was it pivotal? Or was it, did it make a difference that's noticeable?
Chairman, members of the board, I'll ask Maren to respond to the PILT funding, because we just
Okay.
have received the PILT funding verification just several days ago, so I'll let her answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. As with any lobbying organization, if you ask them, they will say yes. we don't have another measure because they've been our representative since 2009, and PILT has fluctuated in that time. So I think they are independent of one another.
Okay. So my point on this is I believe the 88,000, honestly, we're here to make decisions, hard decisions sometimes. 88,000 is a lot of money. And if I can't see the benefit, I don't know that I necessarily want to fund it again this year. That's my point. But I will, and this is not a work session, I understand that, but I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve amendment number 2 to professional services contract number 012924 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? I will second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Motion does not pass. Let's see the result after a year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to consent agenda items 5, A through F. Supervisor Humphrey, would you like?
I don't want to pull any, but we do have 2 more exemption waivers on our consent agenda item.
And there's the culprit right there. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming for questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Supervisor Klein.
I'm good.
Okay, so I'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda items 5A through F.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. We're on item number 6. Call to the public. Anyone here in Globe? No. How about the internet? All right, and I believe we have one person. Is that right, Lily? Lisa? We have one person in Payson. All right, that person, I have a paper on him, Jim Bannon. Jim Bannon's address is listed as Claypool. Jim Bannon called on the radio yesterday when I was on KMOG, and I would say that he was not especially nice. And I'm not really sure why he's here today. I will allow him to speak as long as he is respectful and civil, and you will have a strict limit of 3 minutes, and that's all I'm going to give you, Mr. Bannon. So ready, set, go.
Gentlemen, and someday I hope to say ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jim Bannon. I'm the good one. Took us 9 years to put the other one in prison. I spoke to you when I came here on September 1st and offered all of my communication skills to support your flood efforts. My president lives on 6-Shooter Canyon, and not one person gave me a phone call or email or whatever. So on my own, I created all my communication tools for the owner of Recommended because he lost his sister, and I had a discussion with the other person who died and offered the same thing. So I followed up by following on your discussion of the casita and RV zoning, and I sent you information from Pinell County. Again, not one person said thank you or picked up the telephone. There is a potential block to my communications to you, so I suggest you talk to Bradley Boatchamp. I had a similar situation with the chair of Pinell County and the head attorney, and they resolved it in under a week. So, moving forward, I want to say that I was impressed with the presentation from U of A. I'm much more involved in ASU, and I will commit to making that presentation available to the toppest level of the Arizona government. I'm dealing with the governor and senators and so forth. And Steve, we spoke on 103.3 yesterday, only because I've not had any response from your sheriff. I had a love-in with Molly Greenwald, who I call the heart of Gila County, I converted the Globe city manager from what I'd say an adversary to an advocate. And we discussed business license and incubator. I moved forward from the worst education system to number one. I lost my wife of 44 years because I made that commitment to the government, to the governor, and I found in Miami, and I went blank on his last name, but Dr. Richard, I think it's Ramos, there we go, came to me. And also at Apache Junction, Dr. Robert Lardo. So I came here for the second time to Mason to give 3 pieces of good news to your sheriff. I've still had 0 communication. That was that I wrote the governor to create a Leo Award for Law Enforcement Officer of the Year to be signed also by both senators. And Dale Walters has got the officer who arrested me. He's number 1. I've got 3 people from the Globe jail and 1 up here in Payson. I wanted to also
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bannon. Your time is up. Your time is up, Mr. Bannon. All right, thank you. Anyone else? Lisa, your location?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right, move on to current events or summary. Current events, item number 7, Manager Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. I gave each of you about an 8 to 9 page update on the various programs around Gila County. So I will just refer that and I will send it digitally to you in a few minutes. And when you review that, if you have any questions, please let me know. And that's about all I have, sir.
Appreciate it. Supervisor Humphrey.
I recently held a Roosevelt community meeting on June the 8th. Attended Miami Town Council on June the 8th. I also attended a Globe Council meeting on June the 9th. And the meetings were in Miami and Globe for the support of all of us working together for future flood mitigation with Freeport, Gila County, Town of Miami, and City of Globe. And so we went before both town councils and it was approved. So I thought that was a good thing that we're able to work together as a team to work on future flood mitigation. I was on KQSS radio, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Yes, sir. So last Thursday and Friday, I attended the ECO's annual retreat. It was in Alpine. We had a meeting Thursday evening, stayed over the night there, had continued the meeting till about noon on Friday. One of the biggest, ECO's involved in a lot of big deals, but one of the biggest is we're planning the field trip this next year in November for our legislatures. Every year ECO sets these up, and one year it'll be on mining, and then the following year it'll be on timber, and then so it rotates. But this year it's on mining. And so what we're looking at doing and what we're proceeding to do is gather the legislatures together in Phoenix, bring them into Superior, mainly to Resolution Copper. They'll have an opportunity to go down in the shaft at the mine, come out of that, have lunch, and then move on down to Safford for the night, and then tour Morenci mine down there in Safford. So we're in the middle of putting all that together. Pretty big effort to coordinate all these. I've helped coordinate them now for quite a while, and it's a lot of work. And so we're talking about, we figure on a number of 60. Usually there's not quite 60 that show up. It's usually a little less than that, but it's still a chore to get them all coordinated and together. So we're working on that, and hopefully we'll have that done here pretty quick. ECO gets involved in anything basically with natural resources, and of course Fry is part of the big deal. Right now on the east side over there in Apache Siggraves, the timber industry is doing good. On the west side, it's not doing so good. We have some issues with the mill in Williams. They're in the process of revamping and upgrading their equipment to handle more logs, more acres. But in doing so, we also have to come up with those acres, which the Forest Service is involved in, and there's a lot of negotiations going on there. And then on top of that, we need to find an outlet for the biomass that's created by those additional acres. So that's a big project in itself, keeping those three in line and coming together. We deal a lot with game and fish, and currently and for the last few years, it's been over the wolf program. I totally hate the wolf program. It's really hard, but it's mandated through the feds, and Game and Fish are responsible, along with Fish and Wildlife Service, to manage it. A lot of it does fall on Game and Fish, and so a lot of the emphasis has been to meet that quota of wolves and start working towards a delisting. And right now, we're basically right at the quota, 320 wolves. And so the process for delisting is started, and we'll see how that goes. The quota on the wolves, the 320, we're supposed to maintain that for like 4 years, and then by then the delisting process will be finalized and they'll start coming down. And hopefully, we're hoping that it gets delisted, turned back over to the state to manage it, in which case, as you see in our northern states, they can be hunted, whatever. And so we're really working towards that hard. I think that was probably about it on there. There's one more thing we are working on, and you guys have all seen it, and that's the screwworm issue. The screwworm issue has come back to light. It's traveled up from South America. And so we're dealing with that as well and working with them, and hopefully there'll be some places set up to handle those sterile flies on that. The screwworms is a really, really nasty thing. I dealt with it before, and back then we didn't have the people, the animals and stuff that we do now. So I mean, it's dogs, cats, everything, wildlife. We're working with Game and Fish on that part of it. They have a hard time monitoring wildlife. Permittees don't so much because we're in the woods all the time. And so there's a movement there to try and get ahead of this. I think we're probably, I'm hoping a year out before they make it to Arizona. They are in New Mexico and Texas, like you've seen already. And so if they kind of hold them in check till it gets cold, then we'll see what next year brings, but we'll see. Last Tuesday, I was at the Tuesday Veterans Coffee Hour in Payson. Big group. It was a good group. I had a good talk with them. I laid everything on the line about the vet center, how important it was to me, and the benefits that's going on there as far as the county's concerned. The other thing I laid out to them was the fact that, like the Veterans Center, we as a county, we have projects that don't pay for itself. Fairgrounds is a good one. The Veterans Center is another one. We put money into these, and they don't pay for themselves, but it's a good thing for our constituents and for Gila County. And so the conversation I had was pretty direct, and I'm going to keep it that way on these. It's because a lot of people don't understand when we throw money out like that. Last Wednesday, Kathy attended the community working group meeting in Superior with Resolution Copper. I wasn't able to go there, but anyway, they have currently 450 employees, with many of those being direct rehires. And talking to Brian Seppala, they're still hiring people. They're going to continue to hire people. I'm not sure what the target goal is on employees, but they're putting a lot of people on board right now for that mine and moving ahead on that. A lot of them, as you guys know, a lot of the contractors are from here, around this area. We do have a lot of them coming out of the valley as well, but a lot of them are from here. So they're picking up local people on their part of it that's working for Resolution. And it's a huge plus for us here in Gila County. And also, as you guys know, Resolution has all that proposed to go to Dripping Springs as far as the tailings part of it. So there's just going to be a lot of work down there and on this mine for a while. And it's going to be a benefit for us here, having that going on. Other than that, that was kind of it. And then coming up, I will say next week, I'm gonna be in DC. I'm leaving Tuesday. I will not be here for the meeting. I was approached here not very long ago to participate in the PILT fly-in DC. They've bumped it up earlier and they've revamped it. And so there's about 8 or 10 of us that are flying to DC for this PILT conversation. And the people, for the most part, that are in that conversation are WIR members. And so we're going out there, we're gonna fly out, I'll fly out there Tuesday, get up Wednesday morning, have meetings there, first off at NACO, at their building with BLM and Forest Service. And then from there, we're gonna go to the Hill and start having meetings with representatives and senators and staff members from there. The next morning, Thursday morning, we'll resume it, pick up the meetings that we need to finish it, and probably it looks like wrap it up around noon, and then I'll be flying back to Arizona that evening. So, you know, as far as like your question about the PILT, our representation out there on that hill, sometimes, you know, you go out there, you think, man, I don't know if I accomplished anything or not, but you do. And in the past, it's been kind of, I don't know, you've been there as well. It's been kind of helter-skelter. I mean, people go in different ways, whatnot. A lot of times in the past, when I went on these PILT fly-ins, we went to the offices that there are representatives. They already know the deal. They already support us. I've said for a long time, we need to be hitting those offices that don't support us. Those are the ones we need to be sitting down and having the discussions with. And so this year, it looks like we may be doing some of that and visiting with the ranking members of Congress, and hopefully we'll get lined up for next year. So I'm collecting some information from other counties on stories that relate to PILT and what they use the PILT money for, and how it helps county budgets. I know it helps ours a lot, and SRS is also a part of this PILT fly-in, and that's the same way as well. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and good luck on the PILT fly-in. I don't know what this nation spends flying back to Washington, D.C. to beg those people to give us what they owe us on PILT. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. Just make that permanent funding, and I don't understand. It's just crazy. I don't have the option of paying my taxes every year, paying my mortgage every year. It's just there. It's a bill. Pay it. Anyway, thank you, State of Arizona, $5 million to Gila County. That's a good thing. It's going to help a lot. I appreciate that. And another $5 million to Globe and Miami, split between them. I will say that I appreciate, Michael, everything that you've been doing. You've hit the ground running. You're trying to reorganize departments. You're looking at our full-time employees, those positions haven't been filled, how we're able to capture money, how we're able to find money, how we're able to just change a few things to make things better. Compression issues, you're just hitting it straight on. Josh, thanks for what you're doing. Congratulations on your promotion. I trust that both of you will be doing well, or you'll be hearing from us. And thank you. You had a meeting from at the TCM building. There's a lot of concerns at TCM about some of the ingress, egress, things like that. You're working on that. You're at least saying, I hear you. I appreciate that. Public Works, Troy White. He's very needed right now. He's temporary, but he's very needed. Promotion, Mike Wicks up to the landfills. I think that's going to be a great thing. I really do. I think he's really going to hit that hard and in the way it needs to be hit. I think we're going to hear some good things soon on that. I also was at the Veterans Coffee on the 9th. We didn't see each other necessarily. I saw you. But anyway, I don't want, so I want to send a message. So when it comes to PDVR, fairgrounds, landfills, community development, all those things, I am asking for a more itemized summary of what is being spent at each location. I think that's okay to do that. It doesn't mean my commitment to those projects have changed at all. I'm still fully committed in PDVR and the fairgrounds. We are spending a lot there. I just want to know what we're spending and what it's for. I think that's a very reasonable ask. And so I have not changed my commitment though to any of those projects. I just think that it's appropriate to be able to answer what we do at those projects and how it's being done. And I am excited about news coming about the future expansion there with the ADA cabin, with the community room, whatever we call it, to do that. And so I look forward to all of those. Those are all great things, great challenges, things we should be very proud of and that we should celebrate and continue. And I just want to make that statement. I think it's important so that I'm not misunderstood in my intentions. I went to Supervisor Humphrey's mother passed away, 91 years old, went to a celebration of life on Saturday. And it was very nice. It was very nice to be there and appreciate that very much. I was on KMOG yesterday. I think that went very well. We a lot of information, a lot of things, trying to keep a very positive prospect of where we're going and what we're doing. So with that, that's really all I have. I want to kind of keep everything moving along here because we're kind of running on time. So request for future agenda items. Supervisor Humphrey, anything?
I'm good for now, thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Klein.
Yeah, and I think this is coming up in July, but with what I would call restructuring of the county, I would really like to have a work session on this prior to the beginning of this. I know there could be reasons and that we'd have to be careful or form it the way to visit about that would meet all the laws and regulations, but there's a lot of things there that I think is that needs be discussed as a board. And so I know that there's one, I think Michael told me this morning, one coming up at the end of January or July.
Chairman, Supervisor Klein, July 28th is the work session where I will present all department organizational charts during a work session for you.
So I personally would like to see that bumped up sooner. And the reason being is no matter what happens in the county, us three here are the ones that are responsible. And so when things start changing and the shakeups start happening, I need to know when that's coming and what's going to be. Now, I will say this. I'm going to say it before Michael does. We set up 2 meetings to visit. And one of them I had to cancel out of, and the other one he did when he had to go to the Capitol to discuss some stuff. So we didn't have a chance to visit on anything like that. But neither here nor there, there's things that I'd like to see that work session bumped up sooner than that.
Chairman, Supervisor Klein, looking at the agenda item, July 21st has a work session attached to it with only one item, and it's a smaller regular agenda. So I believe we can move it up to at least a week until July 20th.
In a week?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That's something.
I guess you can say that is, but also know that whatever. Today, our automated system's kicking in here at the courthouse. We no longer have an individual sitting there at the window to answer questions. And so a week is better than not, but I don't think it's a very good deal.
Any other agenda items?
Oh, I'll only take one at a time. That's enough for me.
Okay. And Charlotte is keeping track of this and keeping a chart of it and others. And so, yeah, thank you for that. All right, if there's no other discussion on item number 8, we're going to switch to item number 9, which is our work session items. Matt, I'm going to move you to the front of this. 9B, because you have some other people you need to meet with. Information discussion regarding the status of flood recovery project, associated funding resources, the 220-day completion timeline requirements for the NRCS Emergency Watershed Protection Project.
Thank you, Mr.
meeting
Chairman.
with ADQ right after this, right? Okay. So Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for the time. The projects are moving well. We have some updates now from Ice House Canyon and Copper Hills Road. We've gotten the approval from the NRCS to begin work on those. And so those are at 20% complete and 10% complete as of this morning. With that too, the Ice House Canyon is coming in. Our budget projections are at 14% of the guaranteed maximum price. And then Copper Hills is coming in at 4% tracking. So on those projects as well, we're tracking ahead of schedule and under budget. So we're doing great with those. With Russell Gulch and Six Shooter Canyon, Russell Gulch, we're at currently 60% with the cost projections of about 38% of our guaranteed maximum price. Six Shooter Canyon is 35% complete, tracking at about 15% of the guaranteed maximum price. And then with that too, as was discussed earlier, the question with the easements, that's part of that. And so we were able to work in areas other than where we received the easements. Now that we have the easements, we're opening up the full area for construction on that. Also, we have the Safeware, the household debris, the Fleximat, the hospital drive culvert debris from September and October flood events has been completed. And it's both of those, all of that has come in under budget. So we've done very well with that. And that's pretty much all I have for the updates. So for today. So
okay, thank you, Matt.
Happy to answer any questions.
Supervisor Humphrey.
Hospital wall.
That's still in the review for NRCS, and we are working with the hospital on that. They have a schedule, so that one will probably be moving forward starting the beginning of next week. And I'll provide more updates next week on that.
Okay, yeah, and I'm glad to see that we did an RFI where our county complex water is now going to enter, because I went by yesterday and I was taking pictures and they already have the rebar tied with no entrance for that. But I talked to Jeff Despain and he said that he got an RFI and to change, and so there will be a culvert entering
That's
that.
correct.
And so I was happy to see that, because I wasn't happy to see where they tied all the rebar and there was no entrance for that water. So thank you very much for that, and I'm glad that our water is now going to drain into the creek rather than not. So, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Great. Supervisor Klein.
Matt, who's the program manager on all this?
Steve Williams is working on that with us, but we also have Jay Fuller is providing construction administration for that.
Okay, so they're on the job every day?
Yes.
Okay. Because, you know, I hear things like Tim's talking about, and it just kind of makes me shake my head. If we got a program or project manager on site, simple little things shouldn't occur, especially when we're paying a pretty big bill for them. But
understood.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anyone from our employment that is on site?
Steve Williams is, and then Tom Goodman is down. When he comes down, he's on as well.
Oh, okay, great. Right. Yes, sir.
And me.
And you.
I tend to go by these projects pretty regular.
And then we also have Jeff Despain is on the projects as they relate to floodplain management. And then when I'm available, I go out onto the projects as well.
Very good. More eyes, the better. So thank you very much.
Right.
Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. All right. Work session item 9A is information discussion regarding the Gila County 2027 salary plan, of which we've already heard part of. Come on up, Maren, and let us know what we're looking at.
Before I begin, did you want to take a comfort break, or are we good?
How long do you think you'll be?
Less than I was on my previous 8 items.
Okay.
I will keep it short.
no.
I don't want you to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, keep going.
Okay, great. So we do have a brief PowerPoint presentation attached here for your reference. Cassie, do I have a way to pull it up, or? Oh, okay. Well, darn. Okay. Apparently I did not transmit that to you. So I will go over the primary points. In the PowerPoint from earlier, we talked about a 2.8% across the board option for 706,000 and a 3.5% across the board for 796,000. As I referenced, the 2.8% is keeping pace with Social Security Consumer Price Index. The 3.5 would effectively catch up the raise that we didn't provide mid-year. Mr. O'Driscoll and Mr. Beck and I worked together to identify areas within the Gila County budget that were underutilized, where we could free up general fund money to provide more salary capacity to staff. These elements included FTE budgetary adjustments that included eliminating placeholder positions for future departments or departments where the initiative never got off the ground, such as the transit department, where we had FTEs earmarked in the budget but never used them. It included strategic realignment with county management philosophy. Overall, together with Michael and Josh, we identified just over 9 FTEs that were placeholders or underutilizations of existing spaces. We identified a total of 2 additional FTEs that had been requested multiple times by departments where Mr. O'Driscoll and Mr. Beck found that they were strategically necessary to get more done. The total savings of those 9.33 reduction and adding 2, so 7.33 net reduction of FTEs is a total savings of $629,458.87. So that's money that was already in prior years' budgets that we've not used. We then went through actual expense budgets to see where other opportunities were. Historically, we have been budgeting $270,000 for the tuition assistance program. We looked at actual utilization and to make sure that our existing users can still use that. We reduced that amount. We are still providing the $5,250 per year that the IRS maximum offers, and providing that to the existing users and allowing for that many again next year. So everybody that's doing it plus assuming that many more, and came up with an adjustment there of $191,000. So the combined FTE adjustment and tuition assistance adjustment came up with $821,108.87 in general fund savings. These are dollars that were budgeted last year, the year before that have not been used. So we used that as the available capacity for salary plan. That $821,000 is enough to allow the 3.5% across the board, while leaving another $24,135.35 available. And we also looked at the difference between our past practice, where we would have a percentage or a minimum of $1 an hour. When we offer the minimum $1 an hour, that creates compression. It also creates an ongoing stress on those level of employees, that when somebody comes into that position, it's creating upward pressure on the roles above them. So we would advocate having a flat percentage, and I will let Josh.
I was just going to add to you.
Okay.
So another issue that we're looking at, and as you know, we're really looking at the old class and comp study and how things worked. One of the issues that I'm coming across is is when we do the dollar an hour raises, what happens is, you've seen the salary structure chart where it has all the grades in one column and all of the percent and ranges in a row. So every time we do something that's specific to one area or a specific dollar amount, then when we recalculate everybody for that year, then what happens is a lot of people, really like the top 2/3 of people, their percent and range actually goes backwards, which makes it difficult for Julie when they're making calculations, because what can happen is over the course of years, somebody that came in from, let's say, Maricopa County with 10 years of experience versus our Gila County person that's been here for 10 years experience, because their range goes backwards, because the salary chart moves more with that dollar an hour than what the people move into their range. So then what happens is we start discounting the employees that have been here for a long time versus employees that come in from elsewhere. And there's a lot of ways we can talk about this, hopefully next year, where we can maybe we relook at how we, people at year 5, 10, 15, and make sure that their percent and range is changed. Or there's a lot of ways we can look at that, but as you know, we kind of came into this end of the budget to do that this year, but those are some of the reasons why we didn't look at that this year, and I see why Mr. Minlove had an issue trying to restructure that. Marin and I were looking at it, and it's just really hard to make the salary structure make sense, because every move that we make after a year of, so I think the board knows real quickly, so last year we didn't change the salary structure. So I think every year that I've been here since 2012, every time you guys give a raise, the salary structure moves, the whole salary structure from the person at the lowest minimum wage, and we had the years at the minimum wage, people had to go up. It always changes. And then last year, we didn't change it. Instead of doing a cost of living adjustment, we just did a regular adjustment to all staff, because I assume previous administration didn't see how to fix the salary structure without messing everything up. And now the problem is, now this year, you have all these people that start, you can imagine they get to the top of the range because we didn't increase it last year. So there's just a bunch of different issues that we see that we want to bring to the board to say, how do you want us to fix this? And so for this year, the easiest thing for us to do, not necessarily what you have to do, is to look at a straight increase, because if you just move everybody and the whole salary structure 2.8% or 3.5%, then everything just stays the same. And we ran the numbers to make sure. So
We did.
It just buys us a year to be able to bring everything to the board of supervisors and say, here are the different options that we would have.
And to add to that, we would like to have, as Michael pointed out, we'll be bringing you all the organization charts for all the departments so that you can see what your org charts look like. I know historically they're in the budget book, but that's not really accessible to you as a useful document. So we'll be bringing those to you and showing you where each of these savings that we identified arose from, so that you can see that we were being good stewards and not right. We weren't just playing with numbers. We were going through and seeing where we could implement best practice and where we could strengthen our organization's performance while coming up with ways to continue providing ongoing service to our constituents and getting them to where they need to be.
So there's nothing easy about a salary plan or anything like that. Just what little time I've been in here, what I've seen before I got here, what had been done before I got here, nothing easy about it at all. But one thing I got to ask you guys, and I don't know how this really works, but this 7.33 on the positions, right?
Mhm.
That you took that funding away from 7 1/3 positions to help fund this increase. And you took money somewhere else to help fund this increase. So you were being good stewards, or you are, with the money. I get that. But looking ahead, you're not going to have that money to pull out of the hat to fund these people. So how are we going to be set going forward as far as our regular budget? My way of simple thinking is, okay, we want to do a 3.5% increase for our folks, and I'm not opposed to that. you got to do it in a way so you can afford it the next year and the next year and so forth.
May I speak to that?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So actually, Chairman made that point for us earlier. He just didn't know it. So thank you, Chairman. Where you see that is that this year we're not touching the increase in property tax revenue to achieve this.
Okay.
We left that completely alone. In the past, when we've brought you a salary plan, the salary plan amount has been limited to what that property tax increase is. This year, the three of us found other places in the budget to draw it from. We left the property tax alone so that that capacity is sustainable. Right. So yes, these are one-time adjustments and they will continue forward, but we're not touching that revenue stream. So these are cost savings, but we're not messing with revenue.
Okay, so now another question. This is the only other question I have. We take these positions and we defund them, so we're basically taking them off the book, right?
Yes.
What happens if we want one or two of them back?
Then you ask for them next year.
And then what?
You ask next year that we reinstate them. So there was a department for economic development that we weren't staffing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a department for transit that we weren't staffing. Those are the main areas where, right, there had been the transit, for example, there had been emphasis at the state level on shifting transit from the communities to the county.
Mm-hmm.
That emphasis went away, but we didn't take it into account with the budget. We didn't unfund those positions. So now we can, and you three continue to fund economic development grants for both Copper Mountain Transit and the Beeline bus.
Mm-hmm.
Those are still in the budget. But this way we don't have just placeholder positions sitting there holding up budget capacity and restricting you from using it for other things.
Okay.
And I can chime in there too, and I think I speak for Michael on this too. But one of the things when we quickly spoke with Marin about the direction we want is I would much prefer run streamlined and come to the Board of Supervisors when we need positions than tuck positions all over the budget. For if any other reason, and I think we might do this at one of the meetings when we do a work session, we've talked about if you've ever looked at one of our position control sheets. I don't know if anybody's ever looked at one for a department, but it's supposed to, you just look and you could see the employees in the department and look at a position control sheet and it tells you everything for the employees that are in there. Instead, we've been dragging those lists on, and I mean, like in health, I'm not the biggest department, but I mean, I have 60 employees and there's probably 96 people listed on the position control sheet because there's vacant job codes and position numbers from going way back because that position might get used again. And we just want to clean it up, clean everything up so that everything's easier to see and makes more sense for the board and for the directors that come in. And
so Josh, I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to make sure that when Marin comes to us here sometime and needs that extra person, there's a mechanism we can give her that person.
Yep.
Not just to say, well, I'm sorry, we wiped it out. You guys voted on it to do away with them to save this money. That's what I'm asking, basically. So.
And that's part of why during the budget presentation earlier, we didn't bring you all of the schedules for the budget. We brought you that summary schedule so that we can provide that detail at budget adoption at a future work session. There's only so much that we can say and have it hold water during one particular presentation. And again, to emphasize, these are just the general fund positions we looked at. We still need to go through and audit positions that exist for a grant that no longer exists, right? Where there's a placeholder position but not dollars linked to it. We are continuing to evaluate those. This was just, we had to get this done so that we could talk about what these numbers look like. And Josh and Michael and I will continue to work together to make sure that we are able to streamline the information so that it's useful for everybody and isn't so complicated that it's not worth looking at for the average person who would like to look at it.
Yeah, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate options rather than to be told that there's no money for raises. Well, okay, you're told that, then if you have no options, then you have no choices. And so I appreciate looking at different options. I very much do. And I very much appreciate that the options that you have looked at have given us the opportunity to come up with a 2.8 or a 3.5 increase for our employees, because I think that could help an awful lot with morale. Because just from our landfills, our workshops, Payson and Globe mechanic shops, and the road crew, we went through 42 people in 12 months, and so to me, that may be pay, that may be morale, that may be in a lot of things. But anyway, I think that being able to, instead of saying, no, there's no money for raises, that now we have options. Thank you very much. And second, maybe that will help with morale and things. And I appreciate the fact that in the future, as far as positions, finding positions that we had funding for that we had never filled. I understand cleaning that up, and I appreciate the fact that once we know what positions are required to function properly with Gila County, that we also have choices in that as well. Because a lot of times I'm part of the process, but I don't have. I'm responsible for the outcome, but I'm not able to be part of the process. And so, I appreciate the openness. I appreciate that we do have options, and I would go for either, as we talk about, gapping in between where salaries are conflicted between, departments and things of that nature. I would much appreciate to be able to give the 3.5. But if that percentage between the 2.8 and the 3.5 would help us get more in line, so some people get, the 2.8, some people get the 3.5, which would help with that schedule. Or if you're going to look at that schedule at a later time to help get our salaries in line with what the job requires, if that's going to be a future deal, then yeah, I very much like the 3.8, unless there would be a good reason to chop that up to help with departments. Okay,
Okay.
I think I'm
Wait till they
finished
all
for
get-
now.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, I'm inclined to want the 3.5. Okay, so that's my 2 cents there. And I think it's great that we reviewed. In fact, I remember asking this question, how many employee positions do we have that are not filled? Now, some of those positions need to remain open to be filled. But if some have been vacant forever, or in this case, there's 7 to 9 of them that didn't seem like they were ever going to be filled, just money budgeted, that money's sitting there. I'd rather have it, instead of it sitting there for the potential of an employee, it should be given to the employees that are working. And so that's kind of what we're doing, and we're saving the traditional sense of how we pay for this increase. And so we still have that money too, 750,000 approximately, as you said. And so I'm inclined to like the 3.5. Now, Michael and I talked, and help remind me, we talked about a possibility of having another increase mid-year or maybe around November that would actually be like a $1 per hour. And you're all nodding your heads, but we haven't heard that presentation yet. So this would be not a bonus, because we can't do a bonus.
Are we discussing board business? Should I close my ears?
No, we can't do a bonus because we're not allowed to call it that. But what would be is a one-time check. tell us about that and how we could pay for that.
So using the tax revenues that we're not using for the salary increase and thinking in line with what Supervisor Klein said, that we can't raise salaries too much because we have to incur that debt forever to keep paying those salaries. And since Supervisor Christensen made the idea of a one-time salary adjustment, what we could do is we can use the tax revenues that we're not using that we typically use for the salary raises. And what we are actually Marin's idea, which Michael and I really liked, was every employee that does not receive $1 an hour raise. So as we know, when you say 3.5% to the person that's making, I don't know what the base is right now, it's $30-some thousand, it doesn't come out to that much of a raise because that's how percents work. So what we were thinking is anyone that doesn't receive at least $2,080 of raise, hopefully maybe the board would say sometime in December before Christmas, we could do a one-time salary adjustment. So I think it's everybody under probably around $70,000
Thereabouts,
would
yeah.
get a $2,080 check. Then everybody above that threshold where they would get less would get 1% of their salary. So the Michaels and me's and Marins would get 1% of our salary instead of the $2,080. So a way to rebalance everything without actually having to mess up the salary structure that we told you about and not having to pay for that every year going forward.
With the added benefit to your bottom line that on a one-time adjustment, you would only have to pay the employer's side of FICA and Medicare. We would work with HR to structure it in a way that it was not a pensionable income, similar to what you did when the ARPA funding required that you make one-time adjustments to staff. So we already have a model for it. It would just be this other funding source.
And if we distributed that somewhere in the November range, then that could be considered something that people would feel good about, maybe with their Christmas buying or whatever, paying another mortgage payment or something like that.
And their tax bill.
And yes, it hopefully wouldn't throw them into an tax category. So we would need to know approximately what that costs, but you feel that the $750 increase in the tax levy income would cover all of that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I see that as a tremendous morale builder as well. And so, I'm all in for that. I don't know what the other guys think, but I'm in for that.
Well, and as this is a work session item, we can take your feedback. We can bring you more specific information for your action at a future meeting. And it sounded like there was some other information that you wanted us to provide about org charts and things like that. So we can make sure that we have all of that. We had been planning to bring all of it to you at a future work session. You moved it up today. So we will be responsive to that and make sure that Josh and I and Michael together bring you that information and present it in a way that is useful and meaningful.
Mr. Chair, if I may, one thing I've heard during this work session and during this meeting is team. You mentioned it's not like here. You mentioned that the three of you sat down and discussed things, and you discussed things with others. So I just want to say that I very much appreciate the team effort, because in my world, team together, everybody achieves more. So I noticed that in this meeting of the team effort, and so I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
There's a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
There really is. And so we'll have more meetings coming up, I'm sure. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, and it'll just be a work in progress as we go forward.
Great.
So, is there anything else, Michael?
Chairman, members of the board, nope. I am all good.
Okay, well then, if there's nothing else, then we are adjourned. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Supervisor Humphrey.